You are the bell within a bell that tolls to tell life's essence, and without a sound, over any distance, breaks the spell of silence.
Welcome. Come with the style of blessing. Jeg heter Maxine Gaudio, and jeg kutler Max. Jeg hemma in Reykjavik, and I'm learning Icelandic, but it's so difficult. And I'm going to speak to you in English because I have a lot to say, and there's a lot that's of great importance really to you. At whatever level you are, doesn't matter where your consciousness is, or what you're thinking about, or when you're thinking it. It just matters that you watch what goes on in the show, and you take from it what you can best take from it. Because we're in very difficult times now, and it's so important to be able to look inside ourselves and to see what we can do to help ourselves and to help our community, our family, and to be a part of the world. Very important. So important that my topic today is going to be frequency. Well, what is frequency? And what do I know about that? And who cares about something called frequency? Well, I have to say this about frequency. It's affecting you every single day, everywhere that you are. It's affecting you. Frequency, as an example, would be the tone, A. A produces 440 cycles per second. What is that? It's a very fast wave. And this is how we get radio wave and TV wave. It's how you're seeing me. This is frequency. Frequency is also, for instance, a rose. A rose vibrates at 300 to 400 cycles per second. And don't we love the roses? They're wonderful. They're beautiful. They smell good. And we just feel that our room is wonderful because they're vibrating. The vibration is so important. And then it comes to us, people. People are vibrating. We all have a frequency. When we're really full of energy and we're really feeling good and our mind is clear and things are very nice, we're like moving along at a very fast rate of vibration. The frequency becomes very high, and it becomes like this maybe. This is us. We're operating at our very best. Maybe then we're feeling a little tired some days, and it's like da 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 da. This is our frequency. The frequency is going out from our body, from our minds, from all of us. It's coming out. And then we have a day where we're sick, or we're depressed, and it's like da 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 da. And then there's death, before. Da, 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 da. And the da is over. So it's important to get a little bit of the concept that I'm speaking about, because the frequency that you're operating on affects the person who's next to you, affects the person in your family, affects the family then affects the community. I used to tell a story that's like this about stress. When a person is stressed, and let's just say for the moment, it's a businessman. The businessman is stressed. So what does he do? He yells at his employee. His employee can't really yell back, and their frequencies are not going da 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 da. No, they're just going lower and lower and lower. It's just getting really dull. And now this man, he leaves, the employee, and he goes home. And he starts it with his wife. And now, maybe his wife is really feeling good, high frequency. Rather than she brings him up, he starts. And he begins, and he's irritable. So, perhaps, he yells at his children. And then the children, they kick the dog. And this is how this little thing called frequency, which is very scientific, I suppose, and sounds complex, is very important in our daily life. Everything is vibrating. The flowers, the trees, the grass, this table, But most important to me, you're vibrating. If you go into a mall, you'll find sometimes it doesn't feel as good as it does when you're in the fresh air. You'll also find, if you pay a little bit of attention, that when it rains, which it does here, there's no question, we have all the components that make it good. When we rain in Iceland, it clears, as it does everywhere. It clears the air. It brings in a thing that we call negative ions, and they're not negative. They're really good for us. The same thing happens after a really good wind. Another thing that we have in Iceland. I love Iceland. I love Icelanders. I think that you're brilliant people, and I think it's really important now that we begin to make changes in ourselves, all of us, including me, because even though you think I'm an outsider, I feel Icelandic. And it's so important to begin to make those kinds of changes, because how you feel today affects people in your family. It affects people everywhere in the world. They're just affected. So I'm going to go now to someone who really, really understands frequency. She understands frequency because she makes it all the time. She's able to make music from daffodils. She's able to make music from anything because she understands frequency, she understands tone, and more than that, you need to understand that color goes along with this, that each color has a frequency, and it relates to a tone. So I'm going to let you sit with that for a while and let that settle through your mind for a little bit, and I'm going to introduce a very dear friend of mine and a wonderful person. Her name is Raga. Raga, welcome.
Thank you.
So nice of you to come, and I'm so glad to have you.
Good to be here.
It's nice to know somebody understands what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Who are you more like, your mother or your father?
I think I have from both of them,
Of course.
but in spirit more like my father, I would think. Sometimes when you think you're not like the other
Yes.
parents, you're picking up a lot of
Yes.
it, yeah. And that's what happens, when you're grown up.
Would you say that your mother was emotionally unavailable to you?
Well, they were so different. She was antisocial,
Yes.
but my father was totally opposite. He really liked to be, amongst people and helping. And he was working with, groups of people, all over the place. But she likes to be walking in the nature, taking care of the horses, the animals and stuff. So she didn't feel comfortable with people, around people.
So how do you feel that this affected what you decided to do in terms of voice? Who influenced that? Was it at a young age?
My father was an organist in church,
Yeah.
so music was very important to him, and from his where he grew up was music, and my grandfather, my mom's father.
Yeah.
He was interested in music. He had very good voice, and my mother's sister had good voice and was singing strongly. So I think that influenced me a lot.
It kind of runs in your family.
Yeah, both sides.
Both sides.
Yeah, I would say.
So, would you be willing to tell the story about your father and outside and the piece of the dew drop going up?
That was my grandfather.
Yes. I'd love to hear that story. I'd love you to share
Well,
that
he was
story with everybody.
yeah, talking about frequency.
That's right. Talking
Yeah.
about
Exactly.
Exactly.
He stayed outside during summer, outside his house.
Good place to be.
Yeah, he loved to sleep outside. He had a wonderful garden. His house was in the root of a mountain, and he created really beautiful garden with trees and flowers, and it was a little stream, you know, going through, and he made waterfalls and changed the sound with the stones and sands. That was, of course, changing after big raining or whatever. Yes. And he was choosing his place in the garden, depends on the wind and
so could you say then the frequency in that area was changing?
Yeah.
It must have been a very blissful place to be.
Yeah, he had to he had to choose the right energy, you know. Absolutely. And the right frequency of the land. But in the morning, when during summer it's almost light all the time.
I know that.
But when the sun is coming up and the sunbeam is appearing, he was watching the dew on the ground, on the grass, and there was a blue flower with one drop on top, and in the sunbeam the dew and the drop was going up, and it like exploded in the sunbeam.
And how did you feel?
And my grandfather said to me, "This is God. This is God." And I was 12 years old when he was telling me this story, and it took him almost 20 minutes. I think, it took a long time explaining his vibration, his feeling towards this little but interesting
piece of dew.
Piece of
water going.
Yeah. And he was so thrilled about it that he made me thrilled, and excited. Right. And he made me understand what the nature is about and how important it is to connect with it.
And to connect with others. Connect that and then to connect it out.
Yeah. And what I remember he said it's different with whom you go up on mountain, to experience the solstice, for example. Because it's different if people, some people they don't want to go into it.
Yes.
They don't allow themselves to go into it, I think, because we are all the nature, but we sometimes don't want to accept that vibration,
Sometimes we don't even know about it.
Yeah.
We don't even know it exists.
Yeah.
Perhaps because we're caught up in our daily life, and this is too much to even think about. And this is the foundation of life.
Yeah. Some people think it's cliche. Some people think they're
I'd like to get to that point.
They think they are so tough.
Right.
They don't want to be romantic.
Akkurat. It's a beautiful way of putting it. And so from then, you began to sing. But I feel that when you sing from that spirit.
Yeah, he like opened it, by, I'm still talking about my grandfather. We start to know each other this summer. We were together, and I was 12. Of course, I had met him before, but I just started to play piano, and I started to write music when I was 12. And I never played or exercised or practiced in front of my parents or anyone. But he asked me to play one song for him, which I did. And I was like shaking in the beginning, but he said, Ragnhildur, that's my full name. You are an artist.
Yeah.
you're an artist. And I said, wow, but I'm just 12. He said, but yeah, but you're an artist.
This was your purpose.
So he opened, that for the first time.
Don't you feel, perhaps, that when you're singing, that the sound itself is a vibration that's very healing to others?
I think it's, I think you're true. I think it's right that sometimes it's difficult, it's just, it's different what music you're doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's...
so there's a difference, would you say, there's a difference between heavy metal?
Yeah.
Your energy, the frequency is very low.
I don't know.
No,
Maybe.
I'm saying
it's
much lower, and if you go as an example to the opera, you're getting this tremendous vibration that's coming through. I mean, does it come from you, or does it come from outside of you?
I think the componist, the musician and the composer. Yes. I think when we are listening to music, I think we are listening. If we are honest when we are listening, that's important. I think when we are, as listeners, we are understanding the feeling of the composer. I think that is what we are getting, and the musician is a medium, and he has to be careful, and to get it with connection with the audience, to get it over. Yeah.
So it's going to get some people and not going to get others.
Mm-hmm.
But nonetheless, I believe that the frequency that you're listening to, whether you get the emotion or you don't get the emotion, is still affecting you.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're open and you listen to the music with all your body,
yes,
because that's what the that's the frequency, the feeling of the original frequency you're getting. Yeah. So
I could never use background music in my house. Okay. I have to be fully attentive to the music because I'm affected by it. In one way or another, I'm affected by it.
And I think it's important to use the sound you make yourself, with the voice, to heal your body. I think it's important to, like, if you're in a bad mood and you're in your car, just start singing, and it solves your problem a lot. So, because the vibration you build up.
What do you feel when you're in the middle of singing or in the middle of composing? What do you feel? Are you in a zone?
I think that's it. Yeah, I think what is happening, you go into certain zone because you are like communicating with the audience.
But what are you feeling yourself when that's happening? Are you yourself in a kind of zone as the tone is coming through?
Yeah, when I'm honest with the music, I think that's the most important in this whole thing. When you're performing, that you are honest with the music, that you are performing the music that you understand and you love, and you make your own. I could be singing, Wagner opera, and I have to make it my own, to vibrate. And of course, if you do that, you go into a certain zone.
Yes, tell me about the zone. Tell me about the zone. Because everybody has that zone when they do what they love.
Yeah. I don't know how to explain that. It's
Very difficult.
It's like before I go on stage, I'm scared to death. And I was like, oh, why am I doing this? You know, I shouldn't be in music. You know, why am I in music? You know, I don't understand. But when you're there, it's like you forget everything except the music you're performing.
Connection, perhaps, with something else?
It might
that
be.
Your grandfather spoke of?
Maybe.
Yeah, well, Kanski, this is typical Icelandic.
Kanski.
I'm not going to commit to it, but so would you say, or I think in some way, that when you're in that peak of singing, you are that dewdrop moving up and exploding?
Okay.
Would you say that?
I would say that, yeah.
Yes.
I understand what you're saying.
Yes.
That.
We all become that.
Yeah.
When we do the thing that we really love to do,
yeah.
we keep our frequency high.
Mm-hmm.
It's so easy to slip low. It's so easy to go down.
Yeah.
And it's so important to everybody that they come to this place of doing what they love.
Yeah.
And staying in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy, you know, okay, you go there for a moment. I have an aha moment, isn't this great?
Yeah.
It's very important to learn to balance it
Mm-hmm.
and stay in it and remember that original source. For you, when you sing, or you compose, when this is coming through you and coming out, I think it's the dewdrop.
Wow.
That's it.
You're teaching me, Max.
I'm a little older than you are.
I don't think so.
You know a lot.
This is good lesson and good to think about because I've never thought of this.
I never thought about it until you told me the story.
No, yeah.
I think everybody needs to think in this concept because the world's in a big problem now.
I remember I was working with on a project in a school in the Iceland Art Academy, and I was working on a piece of music. I wanted to have a deaf person to sing for me.
Yes.
And I found a young man, 12 years old, and because he loved to express himself, a wonderful singer. And I just explained to him what the voice is doing to him, how people express themselves with the voice. And he was just, I left the equipment, recording equipment with him and his teacher, and they recorded every day, little.
Fantastic.
And 2 weeks later, I was listening to his singing. It was getting better and better, more expression and more it was like more melody.
So he could reduce.
And he couldn't hear a thing, not even what
we know somebody in common
and
who sings and doesn't have the hearing.
He was like singing, he was my favorite singer, all in the same key.
Yes.
Always.
But in that key,
fantastic.
There's a frequency.
Yeah. Absolutely. Talking about frequency,
this is frequency.
Beautiful.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty impressed with the whole thing. I think for me, it's important that everybody understands it. That everybody understands that what you're thinking is a frequency. So if you think about something that's really not so nice for a long period of time, and if the collective, what did Jung call it? The collective subconscious. And the collective subconscious is all in this low vibration of anger and war and let's get them. When you're in this, we create this.
I think some people, they think, or in general, they think it's too complicated to think about raising your energy.
What they have to do is get happy.
Yeah,
get out of your mind.
I know.
Get happy.
Yeah, I think that they don't know how easy it is.
You know, I just read something about, that I knew before, but I happened to read a piece on it because they've done research. even if you just smile,
Yeah.
it changes the whole everything in your body.
That's
Your
right.
cells change, your mind changes, everything. Now, if you laugh, this just takes it higher. And
Okay.
apparently there's some new yoga where all you do is laugh.
Oh, brilliant. That's brilliant.
Right?
Yes,
So,
sure.
it brings the frequency, it changes your cells, it changes your mind, it just changes the whole surrounding.
Yeah.
And if everybody began to just do this, every morning I wake up, no matter how I feel, I just start to smile.
Oh, yes.
I just do it
I'm
as
gonna-
a habit before meditation, before anything.
I'm going to start to do that.
Smile. Try it. It's
I will.
I don't know where I got it, and I began it recently. And it's like, you will feel the change come over yourself.
Wow.
Maybe it doesn't stay, and it doesn't stay the whole day. But it certainly shows you what just doing that will do.
Wow.
So the foundation of it, would you agree? It's really love. The love has to come from yourself.
Love.
It goes out.
And you understand the truth,
The truth.
probably. Yeah.
You know what they say? The
which is
truth
you.
is the truth.
Mm.
It's like when someone goes to a psychic and they get information. And they go to someone else and they say, oh, I was told that before. The truth is the truth. And
Yeah.
if you allow yourself, because very few people want to find the bottom of themselves. You know, it starts with your parents. And
Yeah, of course.
your whole world is like looking up from your crib all the time, right? Oh, where am I? Of course, you know where you are. It's my parents. Right?
Yeah.
And it begins. So your first relationship is with your parents.
Yeah.
And this starts to develop who you're going to be.
The paradigm, of course. It's
Paradigm.
Yeah. So you have to be careful, really, what is going on.
So you're saying you have to be conscious.
Yeah, have to be conscious.
Yes, this is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You have to be conscious of everything, every minute, all the time. And in doing and you have to think not so much about yourself. It'll take care of itself. But to think outside. What's happening here? What moved over there? What does that person want? What does that person want? It's all vibration.
Yeah.
Frequency.
Absolutely.
Sure. I can't tell you what a pleasure it is. I love talking to you. I've always loved talking to you from the first day that I met you. So I just thank you a great deal.
Same to you. Love to you.
Yeah, well, we have the same birthday.
Yeah.
Little difference in years, but we have the same. I don't know. I'm 3. How old are you? 5?
Yeah.
Yeah.
4 or 5.
So I say, hey, let's go play and laugh, you know.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I want to come to saying that I really enjoyed tremendously being with Radha and being with you. And I hope that somewhere in watching this program, you get even some small modicum of what we're saying and what it means. If you have any questions, if you have any opinions, I love opinions. If I don't, I'll just cross it off. But you can write to me at www.maximegaudio.com. Or you can find me on Facebook, you know. So I say to you, Shamst, nice to be cool.